Grüezi and welcome to Prompt and Purpose, to our very first documentation episode. So today I want to talk how I started in the very beginning. So we will talk a bit about the stack, how I chose it and why I chose it. And then I will talk about the ideation phase. So this very first playing around and the pure vibe coding before I then, take everything and actually start building it for real. So I am here in the Google AI Studio that I chose. And there is a good reason I chose this. So there are different vibe coding studios right now. Base 44 can do that. With Lovable, you can build. I used bold.new many times with Supabase. Together, they're like awesome tools, very good. You can build stuff with Claude Code directly. I think OpenAI also has something like a vibe coding app builder right now. So there's many different tools in different ways. The reason I went with the Google AI Studio is a bit twofold. So one is I already used a lot of other vibe coding tools and wanted to try something new. But then there was also the DevPost hackathon by Google DeepMind. And you needed to use Gemini, the Gemini 3.0 preview, and specifically to build, or there was just a limitation, you had to use Gemini. So I sort of gravitated towards the Google ecosystem because not only you have the AI Studio, because you can also host everything directly with Google. And if you want to go to production, it's quite easy to scale because the Google Cloud ecosystem is complete already. It's quite easy to push it online. At least I thought so. More about that in another episode. So I used the Google AI Studio that I have here, and it's, in my opinion, it's quite an amazing little studio help, especially to start out. So what I first did when I decided on it, I went into this build mode. I've done a lot of different tools by now, and I just came up with the first idea. So let's say I want to have make a mini game where you have to I could do find words that fit a puzzle grid. The words must be innovatively chosen. I don't know what that means. Well, we'll see. Let's see. Let it build. Okay, now this thing can build in the background. So the first thing I did in my ideation phase was to sort of like this. I just had a broad idea what I wanted to do. I never did it before, so I did not give it clear instructions. I did not draw something. Oh, that's cool. Already has something, so let's just go with they'll look a bit the same. Ah, looks nice. Let's go with this one. I did not have any knowledge how to prompt properly when wanting to build it, directly from the get-go. I also did not give it any drawings or sketches or show it any, screenshots from things that I saw that I would have used as inspiration. So using, for instance, screenshots makes a lot of sense because you have an idea what it could be, and then you say like, hey, I like this look. You throw this in, and then it has like a reference what you are sort of looking for. That is one way. I just went in, like pure vibe coding, and just like here, just gave it a prompt, and then I saw what happened. And after that, I just started to play around a little bit here. If you just completely vibe code here in the code studio, you have no idea how the code turns out. And usually it can become a incredible mess. It sort of works for this prototype, but as soon as you will start to add new modules or functions, it becomes a big mess because it's not meant to be built that way. The whole architecture was meant to fit that prompt. And if you give it a new problem, it will solve that problem, but it won't necessarily fit the architecture. So what I did was, after playing around for this, I don't know, half an hour or something, I wrote the prompt that it should give me the full prompt, what it built, so that I could give it to another AI to rebuild the whole thing. So I got a long prompt. I added my vision that I had, what I wanted it to be or what it should be called. I went out here and I redid the whole thing. So I gave the whole prompt again to this vibe coding tool, and I just let it run wild. Then I started doing some fine tuning, learn with colors. I started to add some modules. I was like, this should be done here. And when I did this, again, so I spent some time there. I realized like there's a lot of bugs that you get introduced because the code architecture is really bad. So I did this yet again. After I think I did Vibecode for quite a few hours, like ultimately, and then I let it write out a fully specific prompt of everything that it did, like how the structure should be, what it used, what was done so far, and this became like a massive prompt. And I will share this in the next episode, like how this looked like. I then like took this and that massive master prompt I used to start my whole build. And yeah, so that was like my ideation phase. If I were to do it again, I think there's three things I would consider. So first is I would probably write down my vision a bit earlier and maybe even add some screenshots or drawings that I did myself and feed it to the prompt just to like, give it a bit more direction from the beginning that I know what it will build. I think that would have sped up the whole process. So for me, it was really like just like, having a beer and vibe coding ahead. The second is I would probably have, before I went with this technical prompt where I say like, okay, now write a full tech spec of this because I want to rebuild this whole thing. I would probably have given it, some more input of the architecture, like building lean code, it should be dry code, like how the frameworks to use, like to use reusable modules and this sort of stuff, like some basic coding stuff that I did not give it. So I sort of ran into a lot of problems later on, but I did not know that. So, I mean, it would have been nice. The third thing is something a bit different, has nothing to do with the product, but if you actually consider to build something that you want to sell at some point, I at this point really strongly recommend that you do not build the product first, but you talk to people first. So if you, for instance, vibe code for half an hour or an hour and you get like this sort of MVP and it looks good, take it and talk to like 10 to 20 people, like right ahead. You get so much feedback from these first interactions, just like, would you pay for it? That is a big one. If no one will pay for it, then it's not really worth building anything because, yeah, you won't make money with it. And you will get some feedback of like features, what people think that they would need if that were a case and how it should be presented that you will never think of because you are like sort of in the product mind. And that's what actually happens with a lot of first-time founders, that they are completely focused on the product and they have like no distribution channel afterwards, but like have amazing product. Like at university we see this often, like incredible product, but like no one that will buy this. So if you do this, do distribution first and then complete to build the product or get people on it, because it's way easier to build something that people already paid for than the other way around, So best if you could do like some pre-sales and say like, okay, if you give me $20, I will build it and like it will have like the things that you asked for. If you can do that, that is like 100% like win. Get pre-sales before you even build it. So like overpromise and then start delivering, but then also over deliver, right? Obviously. So that's it for the ideation phase for today. If you build something, happy to give you a review or to hear or see what you built. So let me know. You can send me something by email or just like, on LinkedIn and reach out. I would love to give you some feedback on what you do. And next time we will look into the master prompt that I did and then how I started with the whole architecture in my IDE, so in my coding. What does IDE actually stand for? Huh. What does IDE stand for? Integrated Development Environment. Okay, good to know. Now we know. Right, so yeah, thanks a ton for watching and see you around. Cheers.